painting to photography, from beadwork to woodworking, KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University presents Artbeat. Artbeat highlights the work and accomplishments of local artists from in and around Winona. Support for Artbeat is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Today on Artbeat, we speak with the cast of Tiny Beautiful Things, a play put on by the Winona State University Theater Department. Winona State puts on 2 to 3 plays every semester and gives students and community members a space to showcase their talents. Tiny Beautiful Things is an emotional adaptation of Cheryl Strayed's advice columns, capturing the interconnected stories of people seeking guidance and the compassionate, unfiltered responses they receive. Through humor and heartbreak, this play explores themes of love, loss, and healing. I'm Lucy Severson, here with the cast of this magnificent play, today on Artbeat. Welcome back to Artbeat. I'm Lucy Severson, and I'm here with the cast of Tiny Beautiful Things. I'm going to have each of you introduce yourself, so Jensen, how about you go first?
Hi, my name is Jensen Drake. I'm a current senior at WSU, studying public relations, advertising, and theater.
Hi, I'm Eli Anderson. I'm a 5th year at WSU studying accounting and theater.
Hi, I'm Snor Goldoff. I am a senior studying special education and theater.
All right, perfect. Super thrilled to have all of you here today. To start off, let's kind of talk about the details of the when, where, how, who. When's this play going on, and how can people come see it?
Yeah, so Tiny Beautiful Things is a play about an advice columnist. The advice column is called Dear Sugar. And it's about 3 letter writers that play random characters that write to the Dear Sugar column. And Sugar, the advice columnist, does her best. Cheryl Strayed takes on the role of the advice columnist, even though she's a struggling writer and she has so much on her plate. The show can be seen next Wednesday through Saturday, November 20th through 23rd at 7:30 p.m. in the Performing Arts Center in the Dorothy B. Magnus Black Box.
Awesome. So everyone better come out and see it. This is WSU's 3rd play of the season. First off was Alabaster, second off was Elephant and Piggy, and the third one will be Tiny Beautiful Things. So do you guys want to tell me a little bit about your characters without spoiling too much?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting question. The characters that I play, their name is Letter Writer 1. The show is a collection of these anonymously published letters that are just asking for advice. The advice ranges from a whole bunch of topics, from how do I tell my boss I don't want to go on this trip, or how do I, get back in touch with my mom and dad. It's a lot of ranging emotions. And so each of us letter writers, we kind of take on a bunch of different characters throughout the show, which has made it kind of interesting and also kind of a challenge acting-wise as to who are we. And there's a lot less definite answers in this play, and it's a lot more left up to the actors themselves as to who these characters are, what do they look like, how do they act, and there's a lot of differences between all of our characters.
Great. Sonora, how about you?
I'm in a very similar boat to Eli. I play Letter Writer 2, so a lot of my characters change by each scene. It's interesting because we take on these different roles, but you only learn so much about each character. I have some lines that are like 1 line long. This is no spoilers, I guess, but like the line is, Dear Sugar, my birth mother doesn't want to meet me. That's all I get for that character, and then that character never returns, So I kind of have to come up with different physicalities and different ways to change my voice, even with a little amount of information about that character. And then there are some characters where I have a little bit more information, but it definitely creates a challenge for creating the characters because you kind of get limited amount of information on them.
And I would like to acknowledge we have 3 of the 4 members of the cast here. One of the members of the cast is not here with us today, but Jensen, what character do you play?
Yeah, so I play Sugar, the advice columnist. So my character takes on the role of being Sugar at the very beginning of the show. A little rocky. She's not really sure how to handle all the overwhelming asking for help. She uses her own experiences and the experiences of others and mixes them together to produce advice. She's kind of a noble type of character. She has so much empathy, but she also knows that sometimes people need to hear it like it is. I think it's a wonderful play that explores true human emotion and how empathy and emotion and realism can be mixed together in order to produce advice that the letter writers and the audience can take in.
I know that this play handles a lot of heavy topics, and why do you guys think it's important to touch on these kinds of topics and participate in a play like this?
I think that one of the primary uses of theater is to kind of let others see situations that they're not familiar with, and let others kind of build off of these experiences that they might not have and kind of become aware of these things that happen to people. It is hard to talk about some of these things that happen throughout the show. In kind of approaching them, we've kind of took a very respectful way, a calm way. We talked about kind of how these things show up in our lives and how we deal with them. Processing grief was one that we dealt with, kind of how everybody processes grief in a different way. And I think that that's kind of an interesting thing that you see from this show. And having these heavy topics talked about is a way of kind of admitting that they happen and that they're probably going to continue to happen, but there's people out there like Sugar, and there's people out there like the letter writers who want to deal with them in a way that is creative and a way that is helpful to not only the person asking the question, but maybe the person answering the question and the people observing how is it being answered and what we can take from that answer.
So this play does have content warnings. We have discussions of sexual abuse and sexual assault, child abuse, as well as drugs and alcohol and suicide and self-harm. So something really interesting about this play is that every single letter that is written in the show as a monologue is true. It was based off a book that was written based off the actual Dear Sugar advice column that took place around 2011. So everything that's happening to these people is what happens to real people in real life. They are super sensitive. So this show is intended for ages 13 and plus. But what we do is we take these topics that can be sensitive or triggering or harmful, and we turn them into having empathy for random humans around us.
And this play was actually adapted from a book. So yeah, if you go see the play and you like it, definitely try reading the book too. Would you guys recommend reading the book after people see you guys doing the play?
So the way the book is set up, it takes the exact words of what was asked in the advice column and it basically just states it. It's almost just a combined collective of everything that you see in the play, as well as a bunch of stuff that you don't see in the play. I would 100% go and recommend the book. A lot of some of the things from the book were cut for the play just to make it condense into time, to get a point across maybe more clear. But it also cuts out some of the issues. It cuts out certain aspects of characters. So, and by characters, I mean real people. And so that is an interesting thing to see, is the compare and contrast between what's in the play and what's in the book. Everything that was asked in the book was asked in the column, which again was real. So the play deals with maybe 15 to 20 of these kind of stories in the book, or in the letters from the book. In the book in total, there's about 60 of them. So you can go back and read kind of some of these stories that were missed and left out. Some of them are a little bit more comedic than others, but most of the big ones are in the play. So go check out the book. I would recommend it. It is an interesting read. It's an interesting kind of thing, and you can definitely jump around in there, which is something that's kind of cool about that book, is you can jump from going to this story to a totally different letter, because I mean, they don't really have much to do together. Sugar doesn't really refer back to other letters, and you can kind of just go into each one of these letters with a totally blank slate of what you're going to take out of it and what you might get from it. So, yeah.
I would also recommend reading the book if you have time. Like Eli said, there's like 60 letters in it, so it's a little longer. For me personally, even the letters that are included in the play, there are things that are cut out from some of our letters. And just from reading those sections in the book that refer to my characters, I learned more about my characters. So kind of referring back to earlier how I was saying that it can be difficult when you're just given one line to kind of give you, this is who this character is. When you kind of look in the book, you're able to learn more about your character. And then as an audience member, you could read the book and just learn more about any of the letter writers that maybe intrigued you. And then anyone who like watches a book to movie or anything, it's kind of up to you if you want to read the book, but overall it's going to give you more information. So,
would any of you say that you see yourselves in your character?
So, playing Sugar the advice columnist, at first I wasn't sure if I could even take on this big of a feat. It's so interesting to be giving people advice even though I have not had those experiences myself. So it took the emotion and I took the emotion and the empathy from my personal life and brought it into the story. I could see through Sugar's responses to the letter writers, she has a lot of empathy herself, so that wasn't hard to play. But taking my own empathy and mixing it with Sugar's was very beneficial to my overall playing of the character.
Yeah, kind of going off of that, every character that we play and every letter writer that we take on, there's this bit of honesty behind them. And because they're these people writing anonymously, and so they're able to say whatever they want, admit to all sorts of things. And so they're honest and they're genuinely looking for something in response, an answer, advice, someone to tell them what to do in that situation. And I think just that aspect of it in and of itself is something I relate to. I'm not the most decisive person, and sometimes hearing other people's advice is helpful. And just this space of an advice column is really cool because people could be honest and share their deepest secrets and needs and wants, and have someone there to listen and someone who cared enough to respond and find an answer for them.
Kind of going off of what Sonora said, that there is a bit of honesty in every character that we play. And that's something that I really, really relate with, kind of taking that idea of this is an actual person. I don't know their name. I don't know where they're from or what they look like, but that doesn't necessarily matter because we all have this kind of understanding of things go wrong. Things aren't always the way we want them to be, and that's okay. It's just sometimes we need a little bit of advice, some idea of how do I tackle this obstacle that's in my way, and maybe it's not even, Sugar advice was what you needed, but it could be a jumping off point from how to brainstorm getting over this, or what are some of the options that you can do. It's hard to fill out a multiple choice test when all of the answers are blank, when you just have A, B, and C, and you don't know what those options are. And so that's something that I find interesting, and something that is really relatable within this show is we all need help at some point, and having this be anonymous is a way that people feel that they can ask for help without feeling that fear of, what if they laugh at me? What if they make fun of me? And what if they don't tell me what I want to hear? And because it's anonymous, there's no follow-up with that. There's no, I'm going to check in and see how they're doing. It's, I got this advice. Here's how I'm going to try and apply it with my life. And I think that's something that's really interesting about this play. And that's something really relatable to this play.
And what would you guys say has been your favorite part about being in this play so far?
My favorite thing about this show has been the cast. I get to act alongside 3 of my favorite people, and I might be biased, but that's what it is. It's literally my best friends in the show, and I just get to show up for a couple hours. We say our lines. We memorized our lines really early on, so a lot of rehearsal has kind of just been playing with the play, trying different things, and trying to create our characters, trying to create our relationships between each other for each character. But the best part about it being this cast of 4, one, it's a really small cast. We're all really close. We all get along. And it kind of creates this safe space that Sugar in the Column creates for these characters. And so I always feel like I have the freedom and the safe space to make any choice I want during rehearsals and during the play because I'm comfortable with the people around me. So I feel very lucky for the casting for this show, and it was just the best possible outcome for me.
I would also have to say the cast. It is only 4 of us, and they're all my best friends. And a lot of the time, in bigger shows or people you don't know as well, luckily we are all upperclassmen, and we've all been doing theater at WSU since we got here, so we've kind of been in this group together. But a lot of times in bigger shows, there's people you don't know as well, but it is a great opportunity to meet people. But for a show so heavy as this, as Sonora said, it was nice to make choices and play off others' actions and emotions that we were able to help form a unified group and hopefully produce an amazing show.
My favorite part of this show, the cast is obvious, but looking beyond that, the way this show has kind of pushed boundaries already with the content of the play. One of my favorite things that we do is we are acting in the round, which means we have audience on every single side of us and not just on one or 3. If you've ever been to a play or a musical that's in the main stage, the big theater, that's just kind of all the audience on one side, actors on another. With this play, it's a lot of kind of interesting immersion. That's a good word. Immersion into the play. You have audience on, surrounding us, which puts us straight into this world of Sugar, and this world is just kind of being observed and watched and having that feeling of eyes on you at all times, so you have to be aware of talking to one side too much or, talking to another side too much. It's kind of eye-opening, and it's really interesting because we don't really play with theater in the round all too much. There's been a couple shows done. There was one earlier in this semester. But before that, there was none in my time here at WSU that I was a part of or I have seen that was done in the round. So this is a really interesting way for us to act and for us to kind of adapt our acting into a different way. I think that's got to be probably one of my favorite parts of this show.
Awesome. Thank you guys all for coming in today. I really appreciate it. Everyone go see Tiny Beautiful Things. It's going to be great. To close out today's episode, I want to ask each of you what you would say to somebody who is thinking about trying out for a play in college, and what advice would you give them?
Personally, I would say do it. As somebody who came to WSU not with theater in mind, auditioning for theater changed my life. It put me into a place where I have friends who are doing theater now, and I have just a lot of people all around me doing theater, and it's truly one of the biggest passions of my life, and I would have never found that if I hadn't auditioned for a show in college. So I recommend doing it, just putting yourself out there, making choices, and having fun with it. That's truly the best way to do theater.
Well, I would not be the resident theater major if I told you not to audition for shows. I think it's just a great opportunity. With WSU Theater Department, we kind of get a privilege of learning throughout our experience because the department obviously is an educational department. And so if you're in a show, you get this great opportunity to learn from professionals, whether it's tech professionals, directors, things like those kinds of people. They are professionals. They are in their position for a reason, and you get this great opportunity to learn. And then going off of what Eli said too, pretty much all of my friends I have met in the theater department, and I just wouldn't be where I am today, as cliche and corny as that sounds, but I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't have all of my best friends if I had not gotten involved in theater.
I think a large misconception about doing theater in higher education is that you have to be going into it for a career. You have to have a theater major or a minor, but at WSU, that's not true. They encourage everyone to audition and join theater in order to make their program bigger and learn more and create this world of theater, because theater's for everyone. It's a community that everyone can partake in. Whether you're an amazing actor or not a good actor, or best singer, not a good singer, dancer, whatever, there's always a space for you in the theater. For me, I came into college also kind of like Eli, not looking to do theater. But what I found is in my first beginning acting class, that was the class that I looked forward to the most every single day, and where I was encouraged to audition. And once I auditioned, it's been history ever since. I'm involved in the theater department, probably way more than my schedule allows. I try to do as many shows a year. I'm the publicist for the theater department. It truly has become an amazing part of my life that I will continue to do post-grad.
Perfect. Well, if this wasn't enough to convince you guys to go see Tiny Beautiful Things, I don't know what is.
Thank you, Lucy, for having us on.
Thanks.
Thank you, Lucy, and go see Tiny Beautiful Things.
Thanks again to the cast of Tiny Beautiful Things for joining us today on Artbeat. Tiny Beautiful Things will take place from November 20th through the 23rd at 7:30 p.m. in the Black Box Theater of Winona State University's Performing Arts Center. You can buy tickets on the Winona State Student Union website or at the door the night of the show. For more conversations on art, tune into Artbeat, Tuesdays at 12:30 right here on 89.5 KQAL. For podcasts of Artbeat and other KQAL original programming, go to kqal.org.
Artbeat is written and produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us on the web at kqal.org.